What's up, guys? Now we're going to see if we can take the Platypus and put it on the same level as the Staccato XC. Let's just run through some quick stats real quick. We have the Staccato XC, which most people regard as kind of that's the measuring stick of which all compensated 2011s seem to be compared to. They do a really good job about it. I have a lot of trigger time on Staccato XCs. The gun's special. I still think it's overpriced, but the gun is special. It shoots very nice. Followers of the channel know that I'm a huge fan of the Platypus. There's no doubt about it. I've got 3 of them now. I compete with it. I've helped doing some of the design changes that you've seen. So I'm a big fan, but it still really doesn't have the same attributes as the XC. But I thought we could get close, and that's when I called my buddy Vinny at Monsoon Tactical and asked him, hey, would you guys be interested in doing your Grand Master Genghis Komp on a Platypus, or even the Genghis Komp for that matter? And he said, absolutely, let's do this. And that's when this journey began. You guys saw videos of it prior, a Platypus with the bull barrel, the new grip, and an RMR cut. So I had all the new changes, and I wanted to use that gun as the testing ground for it, because that's the gun how I think it should come. I think the tail of the tape is a little bit closer than people think. Both double stack 9mm, both 5-inch guns, 5-inch because technically the barrel is not 5 inches, but it is a 5-inch footprint of a gun. The Platypus weighs in at 30 ounces-ish. The Staccato weighs in at 37.56. Steel frame really helps the Staccato in the weight side. It may have a polymer grip, but that all steel frame helps it out on the weight side. These weights are also without red dots, without flashlights, anything like that. They're just factory weight guns. The estimated price for my Platypus as tested, and that's figuring $19.25 for the base Platypus, plus whatever extra Vinny had to do to it, and the 3-color fancy Cerakote job it has. As you can see, the price is still leaning in favor of the Platypus by a significant margin. But does that matter? Is the steel frame going to overcome the all aluminum gun? Let's find out. Now, as I said, this is pretty much the industry standard when it comes to compensated guns from the factory, and rightfully so. The gun does seem to have a bit of magic to it. It shoots really well. This particular gun, shout out to my buddy Twista for letting me borrow his XC. This gun is mostly stock. The only difference is it does have an Infinity Staccato trigger kit in it. This is an XC with the X-Series cuts and the new stippled factory Staccato grip. Both guns are going to run an SRO, so that's fair. Both guns are going to run an identical X300. Now, I don't want to talk about the Staccato being overpriced without acknowledging I am aware of the fact that doing a one-piece island barrel compensator is expensive. That's where I'm sure a lot of the cost goes, because you're not just taking the barrel, you have to take a larger stock and then machine it down all into one piece. The bonus to that is the XC can get away in states with adversity to threaded barrels because it doesn't have one. The gun also has, this one has a 9-pound recoil spring in it, which is not my favorite, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. All right, now on to the Challenger, the Platypus with the new prickle grip, bull barrel, and Monsoon Tactical's Grand Master Genghis Komp, or GMGK, in the front. Also, it has the Monsoon Initial D anime Cerakote job, which is, I didn't opt to go with the Genghis Komp only, which is the big port right at the end of the muzzle. I opted to also go with the GM part, which is the Grandmaster part, which is the 3 popple holes behind the front sight. I did that because, honestly, if I'm going to get it done, I wanted to go all out with it. So here's a really good picture of them side by side. You can see the chamber on the XC is quite large, and it does its job, and its job is to take the gas used from the round and expand it upward. You'll notice that the Genghis Komp is comp-like shaped. It's not just a chunk port. When people say chunk port, that was the very, very first iteration of what this has become. This is actually designed like a compensator. It is shaped on the inside to push gases back up. Opening the chamber is not as big as the XC, but it is designed to do the same thing. All right, so let's get into it. I wanted to get an initial 10 for both guns as the first drill. These initial 10 were done with Underwood 90 grain Extreme Defender rounds. I started off with the just 10 at roughly 10 yards because that's kind of how we start off all of our reviews, but also it's not fast fire, it's not slow fire, it's just it's just shooting the dot. And here you really start to see that they shoot pretty much identical. It's more the feel that is different. The feeling on the XC is, it seems a little softer. I think that has to do with the chamber being a little bit bigger and the 9-pound recoil spring. It feels a little slower, where the Platypus is an 11-pound recoil spring. With the popples, it bleeds some FPS off of it, but it's all aluminum. So the aluminum frame, while it is good texture-wise, everything else about them kind of is detriment. So if you ever taken an aluminum baseball bat and smacked a pole with it, everything reverberates in your hand. That's kind of what an aluminum grip does, because it doesn't have the weight of like a steel grip to offset any of the like the felt recoil, where the polymer can offer a little flex and a little absorption and have a little weight of the steel frame like the Staccato. The Platypus doesn't have that, but to me, the Platypus returns faster. I feel more ready. I don't feel so sluggish with the gun. Next drill I wanted to do, I just wanted to knock out some 4 aces. It's just a basic weapons manipulation drill, just to get a feel for the gun, moving around in the hand, textures, magwell, getting the gun back up on target. As you can see, both of them, they do fairly well. I will say that the failure to lock back on the Platypus is due to my worn out mags that I've been using forever. Good old Blake drill. I did it in each direction with each gun to kind of give a fair comparison of what's it feel like to throw the gun target to target. How does the weight, I mean, we're talking 7-ounce-ish, 6-7 ounce weight difference between the guns. So how does that affect me shooting? Honestly, this is kind of where you see the difference on the Blake drills. I didn't record it, but I also did it without the flashlight. So that flashlight is the gamer light, because I still think the Platypus doesn't weigh enough for me. I like it to be a little heavier. It being around 30-31 ounces isn't enough. So my flashlight's actually a gamer flashlight. It's about a 6-ounce flashlight now. It's filled with lead shot, but I wanted to do it just gun for gun as well. And I definitely like the XC better doing a Blake drill, because I feel like I can just glide more into the next target, where the Platypus is very snappy. I tend to kind of overshoot the target. I feel like I got to be a little bit more conscious of getting on the brakes smoother, getting target to target. Bill drills, my favorite. Now, you can see here, to me, I prefer the way the Platypus shoots. To me, it returns very quickly, where it seems like the XC doesn't rise as much. It definitely seems like the Komp is really doing its job getting it back to 0. It's keeping it flat, but it feels just a little slower. Running drills and weapons manipulation is a good way to kind of just evaluate a gun at a base level. But I wanted to take it beyond that. I wanted to shoot stages. So I set up what I would normally do for like a practice, like a short stage. It doesn't have a lot of rounds on it, but I can do a lot of variations very quickly. I set up 3 stages. I shot both guns twice on each stage. So I shot 12 mini stages, kind of get a feel for, hey, the XC shines here, the Platypus doesn't here, the Platypus really shines here, and kind of just, is there a difference? Can I spot the difference? So let's take a look. I'll show you guys the first base run, which each gun, so this is the XC. And here's the Platypus. So on the initial 2 runs each of that stage, really didn't start to feel any difference, except that I seem to shoot the Platypus faster. I'm more intimate with the trigger with that gun. Obviously, I'll give it kind of that advantage, but to me, again, it feels like I can shoot the streak of the dot, where the XC to me still just seems kind of lackadaisical. It seems like I'm still waiting for it. I know physically I'm not. I feel like I'm ready to shoot sooner with follow-up shots with the Platypus. All right, so the next stage I ran, I thought this turned out pretty cool. It kind of shows that the consistency is there with both guns. And I blended the 2 together. It's going to look a little blurry, but you can get an idea. If you look really close, you'll see the Platypus and the XC running at the same time. I thought that was pretty cool. It's right in line, right in line. Next stage, here's just a little head-to-head that's not blurred together this time, but I wanted to show you guys just kind of how consistent and the nuances between each gun. Now, granted, I'm human. I'm not a grandmaster, so I still fuck up every once in a while. Well, guys, there you can kind of see it. If you look at the stages over and over again, they kind of go tit for tat. Some in favor of the Platypus, some in favor of the XC. So both of them have pros and cons, right? The con to the XC is it starts at $4,300. It's expensive. That's without dot, without light, without extra mags, nothing. Pro to the XC, it's 100% factory gun. It has a warranty. The pro to the Platypus is you can get the gun and the work and get it set up just like mine for $3,100, and you've saved over $1,000. You're going to save on the magazine purchases. However, the con, you've now sacrificed your warranty to have the compensator, the Genghis Komp, and the popples in the gun. Is it worth it? Yes, I think it's worth it. Everyone talks about how Stealth Arms has quite a few proprietary parts in it, the trigger and stuff like that, the safety, but they seem to be cranking out a lot of them to where that's not a problem. And any competent gunsmith should be able to work on a Platypus, period. So if you've voided the warranty and they don't cover it, you should find someone that should be able to fix it. All right, so in conclusion, what does that mean? Well, that means that, yes, indeed, I do think you can make a Platypus into an XC level performing double stack 1911, or you could just go ahead and go buy an XC. I guess the proof is in the pudding. That Platypus is mine, and Twista owns the XC. See you guys in the next video.